Come on in to Margaret McSweeney's Kitchen for Kitchen Chat, where every week you'll meet chefs, cookbook authors, foodies, gourmets, and just plain people who love to eat. And along with laughter, chat, recipes, and stories about food, you'll sometimes also hear words of inspiration, love, and hope. As Margaret always says, Kitchen Chat is food for the senses and food for the soul. So grab a cup of coffee, put your feet up on a comfy chair, and get ready to spend a little time with Margaret and her friends.
Hello, dear foodie friends, and welcome to Kitchen Chat. This is your host, Margaret McSweeney. I'm so glad you're joining me today here in the beautiful Viking and La Cornue showroom. So excited to be here with my co-host, Chef Jamie Larita, who's also brand ambassador for Viking. And we have such an amazing and very special guest on today's show, Ina Garten, and she really needs no introduction. She is a New York Times bestselling author, host of the 4-time Emmy Award-winning show Barefoot Contessa, which airs on Food Network. And she lives in East Hampton, New York with her husband, Jeffrey. And this new cookbook we're going to chat about today called Ina Garten Cook Like a Pro Recipes and Tips for Home Cooks is her 11th book. Welcome to Kitchen Chat, Ina Garten.
It's so much fun to be talking to you, Margaret.
Oh, thank you.
And Jamie's there too. Good.
And Jamie, I have to thank you so much for acknowledging me. I have to say that, I've traveled the world with the most famous rock stars and musicians. I'm a chef that travels with music artists. And, I basically have all of these people just, fanning out over these people. But today is my day because I'm talking to you. I'm not kidding. You have been, I am one of 11 children, and I used to sit glued to the TV watching your shows. And my mom used to say to me, and people used to look at me like, why her? Right? Like, why Ina? Like, everybody loves Ina, but like, for me, I'm a rocker, right? I'm like fanning out over Ina, who's like this incredible chef from the Hamptons. And I love the love you have with Jeffrey. First of all, I'm a gay man and I have a husband named Rich. And I love the love that you have, and I share the same love. But I just wanted to say hello and thank you for being on our show.
Oh, I know you should see Jamie. He is just smiling from head to toe.
Yeah.
That's really nice. Thank you.
Oh, and I'm just so excited about your new cookbook and to have this opportunity to share the cookbook with our listeners, both on Kitchen Chat and on Viking. But you have had such an incredible journey from finance to food, and with Barefoot Contessa. Could you quickly just give the listeners a peek into this journey of how you went from finance to food?
Well, I actually went from the government to food. I worked in a group called Office of Management and Budget in the White House, writing the president's budget for nuclear energy policy of all things. And I saw an ad for a business for sale in a place I'd never been, which was the Hamptons. And I went home that night and said to my husband, who was working in the State Department at the time, I'd really like to do something besides working in the government. And he said, pick something you think would be fun. Don't worry about whether you make money at it. Just if it's fun, you'll be really good at it. But I said, I saw this ad for business for sale. And he said, let's just go look at it. And it was a specialty food store in West Hampton called Barefoot Contessa. That really just changed my life.
And you have changed so many people's lives in the process. I read someplace that you have taught like 2 million or more people how to cook.
Where'd you read that?
I read it someplace. I was doing a lot.
I love a statistic like that. Did they interview all 2 million of them?
So millions of people, are learning how to cook from you. And I love...
Ina had no idea.
I had no idea.
You're like enlightened. I just thought to herself, holy crap, I can't believe that's been that many people.
I mean, the truth is we used to have somebody in the kitchen cooking for us, and we don't anymore. So where are you going to learn how to cook? You really need to find somebody that you trust, you think has the same kind of palate you do, you like the flavors and the textures and the quality of what they do. And, you can get a million recipes online, but you really don't know who wrote it or whether they tested it or whether they like the same kinds of things you do. And I think once people find that my recipes are delicious and they're easy to make, they're going to make them over and over again. And that's when people cook and take care of each other and create a community around themselves. And
It's true.
I think it's really important.
We just did a demo in our showroom. We had a big group of dealers in here, and we told one of the women that you were going to be here, and she just blurted out, "Oh my God, I cooked one of her apple pie recipes the other night with my kids. It came out perfect. It was so easy." That's what I think.
Isn't that nice? That's wonderful.
Yeah,
That's exactly what I like to hear. Well, because you're encouraged to do it again, because you went through the trouble of deciding what to make, went shopping, you spent the money on the ingredients, you come home and you make it. If it's not fabulous, you're not going to do it again.
Yeah, right.
But if it's really great and everybody says, you made this yourself, you feel really good about it and you're going to go do it again.
Yeah,
and I think,
and then you want to share. You want to share the recipe too at that point.
Yeah. And also, in these times where everybody's so stressed out, I think we need people who are taking care of us all the time. And, when cooking is a really generous thing that you can do for people, no matter what their political persuasion is. And I think we just, feel better the more we communicate to each other and the more we connect. And very often we do it over dinner.
Yes. And I love too what you write in your cookbook. And I always say this on Kitchen Chat too, that food is the universal language, and just gathering everyone around the table. And there are so many questions that have come out from the home chefs out there. Catherine Walton McCauley wrote in and says, what are the 3 must-haves in terms of kitchen appliances or tools that you would recommend for a new bride who really enjoys healthy cooking?
I would say a really set of good knives. And it doesn't have to be expensive. They can be from the restaurant supply store, or they can be from a cookware store. You need, maybe 3 good knives. Okay. You need half sheet pans, which I cook and bake and roast and do everything on sheet pans.
Me too.
And they're just so useful. You make brownies in them, and you can roast chicken on it.
Or some hot dogs, like I did yesterday.
Exactly. And maybe what's one other thing? I would say probably saute pan. You need a set of cookware, like pots and pans and saute pans.
Oh, that's for sure. So, Margaret, what do you want to say? I see Margaret all ready to ask you a question. Go.
I have this cookbook open and I am just drooling over all of the pages. But I love this Israeli vegetable salad. And Ina, I love these stories you tell before the recipe, how you were inspired that you followed Danny Meyer from a hospitality group. And you saw on his Instagram about this Israeli vegetable salad or with hummus, and it inspired you. I first of all, can you talk about this wonderful recipe and the inspiration from Danny Meyer's Instagram post?
No, I think people always ask me, how do you come up with new recipes? And the truth is, you can't find new ideas by sitting home alone. Well, now you can actually with Instagram. But I mean, I go out and I go to restaurants and especially food stores and markets, and I'm always talking to people about what interests them. And this was Danny Meyer was on a trip to Israel, and I did a little video of these guys in a restaurant making hummus. And they were serving it not just as a dip for pita, the way we use it, but they were serving it more like a sauce underneath something. And I thought, what a great idea that was. And so I literally just went into the kitchen, made some hummus, put it on the bottom of a platter, and then made a tomato and cucumber and vegetable salad, and put it on top and just served it like that. It was great. It was just, I love the combination of the textures and the flavors and the freshness of the vegetables and the creaminess of the hummus. And it was just really an inspiring post. And it came from a friend of mine who happened to be in Israel. And not just any friend. So I think I look for inspiration wherever I can find it. I always like to give credit to people who've inspired me in the head notes. And each recipe has its own, story.
I'm going through the book right now, and it's like page after page after page. I just love the photography is amazing. I love the close-ups on all of the food that you have. What are in this book specifically, do you have a couple of favorites that you love the most?
Well, there's so many things that we made over and over again, not because we needed sesame again, but maybe because we said, well, we're not really sure about that recipe, but we wanted to eat it for lunch. So I would say the buffet salad with mustard chicken and the potatoes. I love the hot and cold. I love the crispy and creamy kind of thing going on there, and the mustard vinaigrette. It's really, and then it's a meal in one dish, which I love.
Me too.
I love the red wine braised short ribs are great, on a cold winter night with creamy blue cheese grits. Right now I've made a lot, the steak and ricotta cake. I've made a lot because you can get fresh steaks in the market.
Can we go back a minute? Like, you were going back and you said when you first started out doing this when you first began, and he said, do something that's fun. Were you always a great, passionate cook before that?
Well, I was never allowed to cook when I was a kid. So, and I think I always wanted to. So when I got married, I just got a cookbook and started cooking, and I loved doing it. So I would work during the day and come home and cook at night. I think I love doing it.
So Jeffrey's a lucky guy, huh? I know my husband.
I'm not that easy.
You're not that easy. I know. Come on.
Nah.
I mean,
I'm high maintenance.
I get it, but like my husband is like, he loves, his eyes light up when I get in the kitchen. I think it's the only time when he actually really likes me.
And my husband is so excited that I'm on a midlife culinary journey, learning how to cook midlife.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Are you just learning how to cook?
I am. I actually do kitchen chat.
Good for you.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm on this journey to honor my late father, who was a wonderful gourmet home chef. And that was my big regret in life, and not going in the kitchen with him. So it's just so much fun to be on this journey here with Jamie, and also such a huge milestone in my journey to have you on Kitchen Chat.
Sure is. So Ina, you got this great book coming out and you're going on this book tour. Is there anything exciting coming up? What's next for Ina?
No, I always look at what I have to do today, and I try and do it as well as I can possibly do. And I don't even think about tomorrow. I really just do. If I can keep writing cookbooks, I'll be very happy.
I get that.
So, I don't have long-term goals like that.
Well, now I hear that you love to cook with a soundtrack. Would you mind sharing who you like to listen to while you cook?
I like to. It depends on the day. I like to listen to Motown. I like to listen to Taylor Swift.
You do?
I do. I just crank it up.
Like
people who work
now,
with me.
I'm imagining you in your kitchen listening to Shake It Off right now.
Exactly. You got it. I listen to, there's a collection of, it's like a whole series of CDs that are from a hotel in Paris called Cost, Costes. And I think there must be like 15 or 20 of them. And they're mixes of Moroccan music and French music and American music and I think Irish music, all kinds of things. And I love to listen to those. They're really fun.
So I know as a chef myself that loves music and uses it as an ingredient, my whole thing is about food, design, and music. How much is music, do you think, actually goes into your soul and into the recipe? Does that matter to you?
I can't say. I mean, I think when I'm listening to music, I may be inspired to do a good job, but I'm not sure that my food has anything to do with music. It obviously does for you, which is great.
Yeah, no, for me, when I'm listening to music, it's like if it's not on while I'm cooking, I feel like there's an ingredient missing.
I understand that.
Okay.
Well, one day maybe I'll hear you and Ina sing in the kitchen.
Stop, Margaret. That's like dirty talk.
Oh, we'll fight over the music.
Yes, I'll let you do whatever you want, Ina.
Oh, we have another listener that asks, Jane Kunze Brun says, what was your biggest cooking disaster? Does Ina Garten ever even have a cooking disaster?
Never. I don't have disasters.
I've never burned a thing in my life. Any more questions from the folks right there?
Oh, there are so many coming up.
Let's have a good one.
Yes. So this is interesting. Karen Lockwich Javens writes in, do you have a favorite dish that Jeffrey actually dislikes?
So far, I haven't hit one that he doesn't like. He likes everything that I make. But, I think I like to make things that I know he's going to like. Right. So I might choose things that he'd like. And, one of the things you'll notice in all of my books is there's no there's nothing kind of odd in it. There are no gizzards and, innards and, brains and,
Lizards.
tripe and things like that. And I stick to pretty mainstream things. I mean, I don't even have any like sauteed calf liver, which I'm sure a lot of people like, but I just don't want anybody to turn to the page and go, ooh.
Right.
So I think my food is pretty mainstream. Roast chicken, grilled steaks, but, with a twist.
Absolutely. And I love too how it's completely cross-generational. I mean, it's great. And in fact, my niece, who is a huge fan, both of my nieces, she said, would you please ask Ina, what are some easy kid-friendly meals from her new cookbook that can be made ahead?
Well, actually I have, in Family Style in the back, I actually have kids' recipes for kids.
Really?
So like the Parmesan chicken can be made into strips so kids can pick them up. I do a broccoli and bow tie dish that's got lemon and butter, and it's broccoli and bow tie pasta that kids love. So there's a whole and I have marshmallows, homemade marshmallows, things like that. But I mean, it depends on, I know some kids that don't eat anything but pasta with butter and Parmesan, and I know some kids that'll eat anything. So it really depends on the kids. There's really nothing in this book that a kid wouldn't like.
Right. So Ina, as far as your life is concerned, I know you're a fabulous chef and everybody knows that, but let's go into like something that you like to do. Like what does Ina like to do aside from cooking?
I work in my garden.
Okay.
I like to work in my garden. I like to go to Paris.
I told you we were.
I like to make dinner parties for friends. That's my entertainment.
Oh, and speaking of Paris, Dominique Signard-Smith wrote in, what is a perfect day in Paris?
Perfect day in Paris. Wake up in the morning, I have a creme and tartine, which is basically cappuccino and bread started with butter. I sit outside of the cafe in the sun, and then go to the market and buy whatever is seasonal, chicken and vegetables and maybe a little tart for dessert. Go for a long walk in Luxembourg Gardens and walk along the sand, just kind of take it all in, and then come back and cook dinner. That's a perfect day.
Ditto. I'm right there with you, Ina. I'll tell you, Ina, we're friends. I mean, if Jeffrey can't make it one night, you and I could go shopping.
I'll call you.
Call me.
I would love to see.
I've never known Jeffrey not to make it though, so you may have to wait.
I'll just follow you guys. I'll just follow you guys on a bike, and I'll put all your stuff in a basket and send it up. I'll just be a gopher. What the hell?
You are so funny.
It's true.
My goodness.
I told you, I'm fanning out. What do you want me to do? Whatever.
You are fanning out. I've never seen this, Ina. I promise.
That's what she does.
This is great. Now, we have another interesting question that came in from Donna Lynn John. She says, what do you think about the Instant Pot craze?
I haven't tried it yet. So, I think it's great. I think people love it. And they find that they can cook something really quickly in it, which is fabulous. Anything that helps people cook easily and, quickly, I think it's great.
What about sous vide cooking?
I've never done it because I don't get any equipment that everybody doesn't have.
Right.
I don't like to try something that everybody doesn't have in their kitchen. There's no point to it for me. So I've never done sous vide. I don't love the texture of sous vide cooking because it tends to be a little bit kind of spongy.
Yeah, right.
So I've never been a big fan of it.
Well, I have to tell you, being in the Viking showroom here, we have a bunch of new appliances and toys and things like that from Viking. Viking has about 70 new products coming out this year, from speed cookers to all kinds of fun stuff. It would be my dream one day for you to stop in here. We're even doing one in New York City where you can come and see all the new stuff. So I saw in your new cookbook that you have a Viking range. In that cookbook, that made us.
I do. I have one in my kitchen in East Hampton and one in the barn.
We are just so excited, Ina, about seeing you in Chicago and sharing your cookbook and everything. And I always like to end Kitchen Chat with 3 top tips for the home chef.
The first one is get an oven thermometer to make sure your oven is exactly the right temperature, because sometimes the dial and the actual oven temperature are different. And it's really important to make sure that you have the right temperature. Another one is season things properly. I think very often people don't use enough salt and pepper to season things. The next one is follow the recipe. I get so many people who say, oh, I made the whatever it is, and it didn't come out right. And it turns out that they didn't have any chocolate, so they used sardines instead.
Oh, no.
So the first time, I think it's really important to follow the recipe and make sure that you followed it exactly. And then if you want to change it the next time, you can always change it. But I think it's important to follow the recipe the first time and see how it was meant to be.
Right. That's great advice.
That is great advice.
Yeah.
Oh, this has just been...
So I'm coming to Chicago on October 30th.
Yeah.
Am I going to see you there?
Oh, yes.
Definitely.
Yes.
You think
really looking forward to it.
After talking to me the way we chatted today, you think I'm not going to be there? Come on.
Wonderful. Just wonderful.
I'm going to bring you flowers. I'll be the guy with the flowers.
What are your favorite flowers to bring?
Oh, yeah. What is your
My favorite flowers? Well, I think everybody's favorite flower is peonies, right? But I think you can only get them in the spring.
Yeah, peonies.
I like orange tulips, orange roses. I tend to like orange flowers.
Okay. Noted. Noted, Ina. Noted.
Thank you. That's great.
Thank you so much for being on
Thank you.
Kitchen Chat.
Thank you so much. It was really fun to talk to you.
Oh, and we look forward to seeing you in Chicago. And thank you, foodie friends, for following the journey. Make sure you tune in to kitchenchat.info. And always remember to take a moment and savor the day.
Thanks for joining Margaret for Kitchen Chat today. Margaret would be so excited for you to drop by and visit with her at kitchenchat.info, where you'll enjoy podcasts, blogs, recipes, tips from chefs, and even great giveaways. She invites you to share your recipes and kitchen stories too. As Margaret always says, savor the day.